don't talk about wrestling gear enough. I know that sounds weird, but it's such an underappreciated part of a wrestler's arsenal, especially when they change it up for a big event. Think of the amount of times you've seen a performer wear attire that you recognize straight away. It's nice, right? Makes you feel like you're part of a special club. By the time you hear this, for example, Johnny Gargano will have likely gone through the entire Marvel universe. It must be fun for the individuals in question too, as they get to slap their own inspirations over their crotch, and it does get people talking, and that's what we shall do today. I'm Simon from What Culture. Remember to subscribe. This is 10 amazing stories behind one-off wrestling attires. Number 10, Shawn Michaels goes brown. Most wrestling fans agree that the brown pants Shawn Michaels wore at Survivor Series 2002, where he won his final world title, were a huge mistake. Not only did they look unfinished, but even HBK himself came out after the fact and said he was embarrassed by it all. So what happened? Well, in his own book, Michaels explained that after refinding religion, he wanted to get gear that was an earthly color in order to show his respect. Unfortunately, he told the seamstress about this too late, meaning on the night he had some mud pants with one heart on them. I don't think that's what he or anybody else on the planet was going for. Triple H laughed at him backstage, as did other employees. One straight up told him he looked like a giant poo, and it's one that Shawn is happy to forget. They were not overly great. Number 9, AJ Styles' mask. When AJ Styles wore his old Bullet Club gas mask at a WWE Japanese house show in 2017, everybody went crazy. Was this a sign that Styles was about to launch a similar stable over in the US? Was this all a trial run? The shoe, or mask in this case, fitted, and AJ had even mentioned Club Love on his Instagram. There was no two ways about it. The Bullet Club were definitely coming to WWE. But of course they weren't. Styles was simply paying his own respects to his final days as a New Japan star, and thought where better to do that than in the same place where he had torn it up with Shinsuke Nakamura. It was really cool, got a reaction from the crowd, and if you want to be properly nerdy about it, then yeah. I guess 2 years later he did restart the OC with Gallows and Anderson. Come on now, that is conspiracy theories up the 2-9 and is pulling at straws. He did it for a laugh, and that was the end of it. Number 8, Eric Rowan's tribute. The best thing about Rowan's attire is that ever since he joined up with Daniel Bryan, he has worn countless niche metal band t-shirts that make you pop if and when you recognize the band. He had a Blind Guardian one on during the summer of 2019, and I did just that. I cheered like a massive geek. It was more mainstream when he donned a Slipknot shirt during his Money in the Bank tag team match against the Usos, but as it turned out, there was a reason for this. Hours earlier, Sean Crahan, better known as Clown in the band, had tragically revealed his daughter had passed away at the age of just 22. Clearly moved by the news, Eric actually changed the clothes he was planning to wear, I would assume as a mark of respect. It's a horrible situation, but also a very nice move from a very nice giant who loves a bit of under-the-radar metal. Number 7, Triple H's shorts. If you go through Triple H's career, he has mostly worn tights or pants. That's it. We all remember when he switched between these after leaving DX, and that remains a moment of chatter for fans everywhere. Like all of a sudden he was a new person, and it was weird. A year after, best friend Shawn Michaels had browned it up though. Trips marched to the ring to take on Goldberg in what can only be described as bicycle shorts. Now they weren't too dissimilar to what Bill was wearing, so some assumed it was some kind of strange insult. It was actually Hunter being one tough SOB. After suffering a groin injury a month earlier, Triple H needed this garment to protect it while also allowing him to work through the pain. It was even suggested that backstage officials had to help him into these as the injury was so bad. In that sense, you gotta nod your head to the man. He really did fight through a lot of scenarios like this, even if it meant wearing odd shorts that no one understood. Number 6, The Undertaker's flag. When The Undertaker pulled back his duster jacket at the Survivor Series 93, many fans were surprised to see it had been stitched with the familiar sight of the American flag. Make any sense when you consider his character, but the event was based around foreigners attacking home soil, and it was undoubtedly a nod towards that. An extra bit of patriotism before Lex Luger slammed Yokozuna's ass. What caused the most issues is that this wasn't Old Glory, but the Betsy Ross flag, which is controversial to say the least. Featuring only 13 stars to represent the then 13 colonies, these days it's seen as more of a nod towards white nationalists who would want to go back to a time that no good person should. Now, this wasn't likely the reason for using it here, and it was more due to the fact that Taker himself was a nod back to a mortician of this era, but still, this was ill-advised, made even more odd because a man that's meant to be dead never needs to pledge any kind of allegiance to a flag. He already lives underground. Number 5, CM Punk's Halloween HAVOC homage. At a French house show in 2012, CM Punk arrived dressed like a skeleton. It was Halloween, so that ticked a few boxes, but surely there was more than a spooky day encouraging Punk to utterly change up his gear. It would be nice to think it was was based on the Karate Kid movies, as this suit is what asshole Johnny wore as Cobra Kai went after Danny. But in reality, it was more likely a nod for La Parka, a man who had torn up the scene for years and of course dressed in a way eerily similar to this. Given Punk would often do this when the time was right, you'd have to assume that's correct, and that he discovered it by doing a quick search on the internet, and the closest he could find was associated with one of the best movies of the 80s. And yeah, that's right, I said it, and I'd say it again, the Karate Kid is absolutely brilliant. Number 4, CM Punk's Stone Cold shirt. We just mentioned this, so here's some proof. CM Punk did enjoy doing this a lot. We've spoken about the pipe bomb promo in 2011 to death. What is often overlooked is that he did all this wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt. The instant assumption is that it was setting up what was about to happen. Punk couldn't have shot any more straight on that evening if he tried, and that's exactly what the Rattlesnake used to do on a weekly basis. If he wanted to say something, he would, consequences be damned. It was actually far more practical. After throwing away his own merch the night before, he asked somebody backstage what CM Punk shirts they had. The only remaining ones were in size XXL, which would have made Punk look like he was wearing a tent. Instead, he looked in his own bag, found the mentioned T, and that was that. We were off to the races. Punk revealed all of this in an interview with GQ, while also admitting he realized this would lead fans to thinking he was teasing a match. He wasn't, but you know wrestling fans, if we can fit square pegs in circular holes, we always will, and then be disappointed when our own expectations aren't matched. Number 3, Rey Mysterio shocks the boss. Much like the mentioned Johnny Gargano, Rey Mysterio loves comic books. We've seen him nod his cap to Wolverine, the Joker, Daredevil, Captain America, and more throughout the years, and at SummerSlam 2007 he chose the Silver Surfer because why not? That's a cool character. Vince McMahon did not agree. When he saw Rey out there shirtless and basically covered in powder, he hunted down Agent Dean Malenko and gave him an earful about why he'd let this happen. When Malenko tried to explain, it made little difference because in the boss's words, "That's not Rey." No idea what that means, but apparently this is the line for Vinnie Mac when it comes to superheroes. I'd love to see what he thought if someone ever dressed as Calendar Man, and I suppose if you don't know who the Silver Surfer is, it is a bit weird. Why has someone just gone to the ring after throwing a bunch of white stuff over them? Number 2, Ricochet is Robin. At SummerSlam 2019, a lot of people raised an eyebrow when Ricochet arrived dressed as Nightwing. Given that he never wore a full bodysuit, all of a sudden changing into one didn't make sense, even if he was up against ultimate supervillain AJ Styles. Thing is, wasn't his idea. Told that he should do this by management, Ricochet obliged, and it was just nice. It was all out of left field because we were so used to seeing the King in tights, and you'd have to guess this won't be the last time it happens, so answers on a postcard now as to what's next. If someone can do Batman soon as well, I'd appreciate it. I'm sure it has been done and I'm wrong, but I can't ever remember a time when I saw that. So Rey Mysterio, Johnny Gargano, Ricochet, go and do the Dark Knight and make this idiot a bald happy man. Number 1, Mick Foley forever. We all know it was kind of lame that Mick Foley retired at No Way Out 2000 when Triple H threw him off the top of the cell, only to come back a few weeks later to participate in the WrestleMania main event. Can't really blame the man for that though, who would say no, but it was an awkward situation. In order to make it a proper send-off, however, Foley decided to merge his 3 creations into one, wearing gear that was 1/3 Mick, 1/3 Cactus Jack, and 1/3 Dude Love. Seems a bit unfair to Mankind, but what are you gonna do? His traditional red flannel shirt was now blue as a nod to the dude, and rather than the Wanted Dead or Alive t-shirt, he had the rarely seen Cactus Jack Forever top. His face is obviously that of Mrs. Foley's baby boy, as it has been for his entire life, and that's your lot. It was a great way to say goodbye, even though it wasn't, because you know the deal, he came back a lot, but who cares? He tried his best here, and that's all you can ever do.
Does anyone know any songs then?
No. Really?
Clearly knows Wonderwall?
Not all of it.
How about we do a video channel instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, cool. Yeah.
Lists, everyone?
Lists.
Cool,
Lists.
list.
Woo!
Know of any other amazing stories behind one-off wrestling attires? Make sure to let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.